We have Mr. Sajid Paul, Director System Engineering India and SAR, Juniper Networks India Private Limited. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much being part of
My pleasure.
CDO Summit. At the outset, our viewers will certainly be interested in knowing the business operations of Juniper in India.
Yeah, so actually Juniper is founded with one vision called connect everything and empower everyone.
Okay.
So I think so fundamentally that means we are in the business of network infrastructure. So we have three major business units, which is one is routing, the second one is switching, and the third one is security. I think these are the three areas that we work. In terms of our focused customer verticals, we have a service provider business, which is like who build a massive scale infrastructure for connectivity. And then we have the public sector and government and defense sector. So that is a specialized sector, and we have a go-to-market model based on that. Then we have the enterprise and the commercial sector, which includes the BFSI as part of that. I think these are the three vertical areas that we work on. And in India, we've been here for I think 2 decades. We just celebrated our 20 years since the company was founded, and in India, and we have probably the largest engineering presence in India outside our headquarters across the globe in India actually, so that the product from end to end is being designed and tested and verified and in collaboration with the other part of the world.
So will you please elaborate more on how the company has been able to establish itself in the country in last 20 years?
Yeah, so
Maybe your customer base.
I think it's a very interesting story in Juniper in India. Actually, we started off with some 3 employees in India,
Okay.
way back in probably 20 years back. And then at that time, the internet was probably in its very early infancy. And normally we talk about very low speed internet connections. The websites are very minimum. The web browsers are quite a few, and I think we started off that, and then the internet we saw at that time was probably were not able to scale beyond certain points because of the technology issues at that time. It was not kind of innovated. So what Juniper saw a great opportunity to ensure to connecting everybody. We need to enhance internet. Internet is probably the primary medium for connecting people together, and that is so true. And then we also realized that internet protocol IP, because in those days there are many protocols which are under discussion.
Yes.
So we decided that internet protocol IP and Ethernet are the 2 technologies, and internet is the medium of connecting the world together. And then we started developing specialized products to kind of exponentially grow in all dimensions. So we normally talk about 3 dimensions. The first dimension is the scale. The internet is all about scale.
Yes.
And then when we talk about the subscriber base, when we actually service a subscriber, let's say there are, if you take the population of the world, and then you calculate today's IoT, those type of things, and it will run into billions of end devices coming. And then the third piece that we looked at is services. What kind of services a network can offer? So all 3 elements, subscriber, scale, and services, we looked at, and we started building probably the world most scalable, most service-rich router that we began with, and that's a clear value that the customers saw. Even in India, when we started taking the journey of digitization, and when we started seeing the mobility networks are being built, and then there is a clear value proposition that Juniper brought to the table, which we did not see otherwise earlier. I think that's how we started establishing ourselves, and probably we are one of the most favored names in the routing space now across the globe.
So what have been the key key elements which have been driving the business for you all these years?
It's of course the most important thing is customer intimacy, that understanding a customer's real business need and translating that into a technology solution. There's always a tendency that you kind of oversize the network so that the future will be taken care of. But today's operators doesn't have that much of budget to oversize beyond a point. So can we really have a network which can grow maybe step by step depending on your demand, or scale out type of architecture? So I think that is one of the key things that we brought on the table. Then of course, as I said earlier, the service richness. Today's telecom operators are one of the key areas that they look at is how can they really monetize their existing infrastructure. What new applications can I really bring to a table? How can I curtail over the top players and then still make revenue out of that? So all those things are thing. And I think today in our panel discussion we discussed a lot of customer intelligence is being gathered by telecom operators, gathered, or they are accustomed to a lot of customer information. How can we really mine this customer information and then give maybe personalized service? So all those are services which comes into the network. Network need to be agile. So we go with the customer intimacy, feature richness, service agility, and things like that, and then create a holistic value proposition for the customer.
Is this when Internet of Things come into picture?
Internet of Things is a recent phenomena. We haven't really gone down too aggressive in India. We don't see that, but I think by 2020 we'll see that we'll have 2 times more than the population of devices. I think around 25 to 30 billion devices will come in and connect to this network, and the same network has to handle the traffic, which is I would say completely unstructured data traveling across the network. And today's network, a lot of operators and enterprises are provisioning to really catch that cycle whenever that comes.
Can you please give us a brief idea about the market share of your company?
Yeah, I think Juniper, we are one of the, as I mentioned earlier, we are one of the leading vendors in the routing space, and we are one of the leading vendors in building scale-out data centers when it comes to cloud-scale data centers. I think we have been building devices which will help you probably 2 or 3 times more capacity than our competing vendor. So we look at many things. One is a cost per gigabit, if that is a unit that you want to measure, and then our customers look at us in that what is your cost per megabit or cost per gigabit pricing, and then how do I grow from a megabit to a gigabit? What is the differential pricing? How much it costs me to really operate that network? And the third piece is on the security side. I think we are number 1, 2, or 3 players in many of these areas across the globe.
Okay. What are your future plans, sir? To cater to more and more customers?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. That's an ever-increasing thing. The one technology, if I have to call out now, which will really probably transform some of the way we architect the new, is called automation. And it's not a unknown term. It's not an unfamiliar term. People know that. Practical life, we know many things can be automated.
Yes.
And we are doing it for a day. But network is seldom automated, and now we are actually bringing in that automation piece into the network. So thousands of devices. When IoT comes, it becomes even more complex. Thousands of branches in BFSI point of view. Can I do a zero-touch provisioning? Today we are powering on tens of thousands of cell site or the towers with zero touch. That means a worker can carry a piece of network equipment, plug it in, power it on, and then it gets configured and reconfigured and maintained automatically by the system. We call it zero-touch provisioning, and all the automation scripts and languages are written at the back end. Now network, just like you write automation for a application or software, you can automate a network now. I think that is really picking up. That's evolutionary, and we will see that happening in not only just in service provider networks, but also in the data centers that the BFSI customers are working on. And it will also need a different set of skills There has to be a skill set transformation for even the existing engineers to capitalize on that.
So there will be no, negative impact on the manpower.
No, but I think the new engineers who come out are more software accustomed
Yes.
than when we began our career maybe 20-25 years ago. The technology that we learned is different, and now we are working in the virtualization and application world.
Yes.
And today's engineers are largely software focused, data scientists,
Yes.
and things like that. So how can we really use that talent?
Right.
And network is moving in that direction.
What are your thought on the CTO summits?
I think I've been attending for last I think it's many years I've seen this.
Okay.
It's a well received event.
Yes.
I think the number of attendees and the panel discussions are very useful, and I personally could meet many of our customers. I think wishing you all the best. Continue to do this good work and connecting all the industry and all this together.
Thank you. Is there anything that you would like to convey to the customers?
Yeah, I think as my interview, as I mentioned that the technology is in its kind of ever evolutionary, routing, switching, security, all elements, and you need to look beyond the traditional way of designing things. Look at what really your business vision is, and then start architecting the network to follow that path. Don't really be held up on certain vendors' capability and availability of products, but think beyond them. Have a software-centric strategy, have an automation strategy, have a skill set transformation strategy for your network to really stand up for all the new ideas that you bring to the table.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you. Pleasure.